just your patience tonight and Joel, you talked about getting to it, and also can you talk about the decision with 30 up to that line, this is what you want to do.
Well, we won this in the game. This is what I expected the whole series to be like before we got into it. I expected it to be real tight like that, real clogged up in the neutral zone and hard to get chances. And I thought they were real patient themselves and real good defensively, and they made it hard. And Bruscalif was good. I thought Howard was good, and I thought our team was patient and we got some timely goals.
Mike, can you talk about Jimmy bouncing back the way he did? What does that say about a kid like that to perform the way he did tonight?
Well, that's what we expected. I mean, that's what he's done all year long. When it doesn't go his way, it's usually like water off a duck's back. And he's played real well for us all year. The reason we're in the playoffs is he's a big part of it. And good for him. I thought he made a couple saves when they outshot us 5-1, but then I thought it was a tough period for the goalie when you're Pepper and the other goalie, and you haven't had a great night the previous night in the first period, and then you get to hang in there, and I thought he did a real good job for us, especially in the second.
Mike, I thought you guys played the body really hard today, and reminded me a bit of the way you got back in the Anaheim series last year, your response. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we talked a lot about that, as we really felt we had to do a good job on their D. Their D, it's interesting, they skate real well, they got a good puck-moving D, and they're everybody's partner is the opposite shot, and so they can go side to side real well. Whereas a lot of teams like ours, we got 6 lefties. So when it's clogged up, it's harder. So they've been hard to get to, but I thought our guys got to some of them tonight, and I think that's real important. You got to continue to do that.
Mike, in the 2 games you won, I think Zetterberg has 5 goals. That obviously says something about him.
Well, he's been real good at playoff time each and every year. He seems to score at a higher rate, and obviously real important that your best players play. I thought Pav had a real good night tonight, and for you to be successful, those guys got to generate offense. There's no question about it.
Mike, you just talk about the PK tonight and how important that was.
Well, they tried to test it for sure. I mean, sometimes you don't agree as a coach with some of the calls. Like the call on Pavel to me was crazy, but you don't want to get shorthanded as much as we were tonight. Obviously, we got to be more disciplined than that. You can't give a good team opportunity like that, but the guys dug in and did a real good job. And I thought we really limited their opportunity in the third period on the penalty count.
Coach, that's a gutsy call, changing your top line at this time of year. Was it a tough decision? Lose any sleep, that sort of thing?
No. I change it every year at this time of year, so it doesn't make any difference from game to game, just whatever works. So it was just one of those situations. We didn't think they were playing with enough pace. Homer's a real battler and a real net front presence, doesn't skate as good as Cleary, so we just changed their work tonight. Who knows what we'll do for Game 5 with the matchups going their way.
Back to the penalty kill. You've killed off 13 straight after giving up 3 in the first game. Can you comment on that?
Well, we were red rotten in the first game on the penalty kill. They got a break on the one, and we thought they had interference on Shane Doan on another one, and then we ran around their head cut off on one that just gave up an empty net goal. So we hadn't done that all year, and since probably Stockholm over there against St. Louis, and our penalty kill's been real good, so we were real confident that was going to happen.
Coach, back over to your left. Getting back to Jimmy for a second. Based on what you've learned about him, is he the kind of guy who wants to hear a lot from you or not hear a lot from you going from a game like Sunday into tonight? How'd you handle that?
I didn't talk to him. I haven't talked to him hardly all year except to say, how are you? And, where did you get your suit? And what's good? Like, we haven't talked about hockey once. So, that's not going to start. That's Jimmy B's job. That's why we have him here. He looks after all those guys. And, you talk to the kid, but I'm not talking about where he should stand or what he's thinking about. Once in a while I say to him, it's about the next stop. He knows all this stuff. He doesn't need to hear from me.
Mike, it turned out, over here to your right, turned out to be moot, but the Phil goal that was waved off, did you think you were snake-foot there? Or?
No, I thought our guys thought it was in. Our video coach saw it was in, but when you go through the replay, it's very obvious it's not in. So I think we got a little too excited. It wasn't in.
Mike, Jimmy said yesterday he was still having a hard time letting the previous game go, and then kind of woke up today and was able to focus on the game. Do you sense any of that? Do you see that, or did Jim, or did anybody, Chris?
You know what? You'd have to ask Jim that question. He's a better guy to answer it than that. Is we have a real veteran goalie who's won cups in Aussie. Who I said to Aussie on our way out tonight, "How's he doing?" And he said, "I've just left him alone." And, you know, it's important. They got to find their way themselves. The good players all got to survive at this time of the year. I said to the guys before the game, I mean, we need to win tonight. There's no question about it. This is why you're in sport, for games like this, where you got to bring it when it counts. That's what being in sport's all about. That's what Howie has to do if he's going to be a top-flight goalie in the National Hockey League. And we've seen lots of guys do it well in the regular season and not be able to deliver at playoff time, and I'm real comfortable he'll be able to.
Mike, the team seems to have struggled this year, or so this series, with the game after the travel day. How much do you think the day off this week between?
Well, I think obviously the way the schedule worked, and we were on the road to finish the year, and then we had to go right out. I don't know why. It's always because NBC wants us or something on the Sunday. You know, obviously, if they'd asked me, that wouldn't be the schedule. But the big thing is the 3-hour time change. And it's not as big a deal. I've coached out in the West, so I understand it. It's not as big a deal to fly this direction. It just doesn't affect you the same way. But that's the toughest part, and yet we're going to have to do it right away here again, and we got to do a better job than we did last time. So we'll change up our routine and find a way to win. But right now it's all about enjoying a day off and traveling tomorrow and getting ready for Phoenix in Phoenix.
Coach, Hank's playoff numbers, career big and getting bigger. Can you just comment on his play tonight as opposed to other games in the series especially?
Well, I think obviously inspired tonight, which is good, and I thought the same in Game 2 of the series. We got to make sure he's ready to go for Game 5 of the series. You know, your big players got to be good at this time of year, and they got to be driven and competitive. There's no free ice out there. Phoenix does a real good job. They skate really well and make it hard on you. So we just got to. I mean, there was nothing flashy about tonight's game. It's just a simple game. You got to get it in, you got to get it out, you got to get through the neutral zone and attack their net. So we're going to have to do the same if we want to win in Phoenix.
Like, did you feel like Howard was especially good, or did the defense also tighten up in front of him tonight too?
Well, I thought both teams' goalies were real good tonight, but I also didn't think there was near as much. It was hard to get through the neutral zone for both teams. It was harder. Like, a lot of the shots were wristers from the outside. You know, tough to get to the net on, but you just got to keep being patient and doing that. But I thought both goalies made real timely saves.